So do you want to learn and know the scalable, repeatable system that I use to create a six-figure online fitness business while working full-time as a trainer? See, I was so frustrated. I remember this moment sitting in my kitchen, like on our bar stools, like slamming my head in between my hands, because I had paid for dozens of courses, read literally every book I could find when it came to creating an online business and anything with business related to fitness, gone to all these seminars, and they just kind of missed a few points. One is I didn't feel as if they understood the fitness industry. Like there was a lot of really good concepts and principles that they were teaching, but I didn't see how it really applied to fitness and how to make that work. And the second thing was I really don't think people, unless you're in this industry, understand what it's like and just the physical demands and the mental demands, having to wake up early, stay up late, that split shift job. A lot of the things they wanted me to implement, I just couldn't do because of my schedule. So what I did, with all my frustration, I said there had to be a better way, and that's what I created. So what I did is I took all the best principles and systems that these business leaders and thought leaders were teaching in their seminars and courses, and I figured out a way to apply it to the fitness industry for the busy fit pro. And so that's what I want to show you guys in this video, is how I was able to create these systems and apply it to my personal business to grow a successful online business while working as a full-time trainer inside a brick and mortar facility. So, got my Vanna White presentation for you today. The very first thing that I did and that we teach all fitness professionals to do is I built a community. So whenever I started reaching out for doing things online, I knew I had to stand out, and I did that with being very specific with who I wanted to work with. Selfishly, I picked somebody like me. I picked a busy working dad. And so that's who I created for my community. And so whenever it comes to building your community out, you have to be extremely specific and niche down with who you want to help, how you're going to help them, and add value to them. So once I kind of identified, okay, I wanted to work with busy dads, and all the workouts were, short, 30 minutes or less, minimal equipment, like I really knew my target, I started creating posts to attract that type of a person. So every time I would create a social media post, I would go into Facebook groups, community groups that were associated with that person. It was just to add value to them. And one of the reasons why you want to be very specific with this is, one, you'll know exactly what you should be posting because you know how to speak to that person and know their language and know their pain points and what they're looking for. But the second thing, and it's probably one of the more important things, you know where to find them. So I knew, for example, for my group, Working Busy Dads, there's tons of groups on Facebook, blog groups, associations and member groups and stuff like that appealed to busy dads. They weren't necessarily selling them fitness products, but somebody had already done the work of kind of congregating my ideal target in my community for me. So I just had to go in there and not be spammy, but add value to those people to kind of attract them and show them how I could serve them. So once I had done this and kind of built out my community, I started to find out ways that I could give to them. So I created what's called an opt-in or a lead generator. And maybe you've heard this term before, but whenever you first start engaging with somebody and doing something online, right, you want to give them value, obviously, but at the end of the day, you want to be able to get them into your world. And so how you do that is with something called a lead generator or an opt-in, and that's where you give somebody something of value in exchange for their name and email address. Personally, I believe and think that email marketing is one of the best things that you can do because it becomes more traffic, is what they call it, or an audience that you can control, right? Whenever I'm posting things on social media, I have to rely on the algorithm. I have to rely on the platform and what changes it's going through. Are they wanting me to spend money on a bunch of ads for people to see my content? It's too many factors that are out of my control. It's great for building an audience to kind of get your name out there and for marketing, but to really control as much of what your audience sees as possible is great. And one of the ways you do that is with things like text messaging marketing and email marketing. So I created an opt-in for my busy dads. I created several actually. So I remember the first one was I created something called the Fit in 10 Guide. And what it was an ebook where I made this in Canva for free. I just took 5 YouTube videos, which was me walking people through these 10-minute body weight only circuits. I screenshotted the thumbnails. I plugged them in Canva templates to make like a little ebook out of it. And I wrote little exercise descriptions, and that was my freebie that I would give away. So people would come to a landing page that I would create, they would type in their name and email, and that guide would automatically get sent to them. I used that to give back and build up my list so I could do the third thing, which is starting to nurture them. So I was busy, and I didn't have time to sit there and constantly follow up. So one of the great things also about having email marketing is I was able to build out something that's called a sequence. So what that is when somebody opts into your email list, they'll start getting a series of emails that you have already written for them that speaks to them because you know your community and who you're going after, that adds value to them and helps kind of nurture that list. So they go from being somebody that was just following you on social media to opted in to somebody that wants to become a paying customer of yours. So that's what I built out for my nurture list. So they would come in, they would give me their name and email address for the Fit in 10 Guide, then they would automatically get plugged into this nurture list, which like again is that sequence of emails. So this was happening while I was training clients, right? If you're in fitness, and especially if you're wanting to do anything online, you're posting things on social media. So as I'm doing this post, I'm now having a call to action in the bottom of my post saying, hey, if this post added value to you, click the link below, enter your name and email address, and I'm gonna send you this free guide for busy dads just like you. And I'm speaking to them. So then they're going, entering their name and email, and then they're plugging in this nurturing list. And all of this is happening while I'm still working my other job and training clients. Like I'm building this stuff out at nights, on the weekends, and that's how it's able to start kind of growing and building this audience literally while I sleep and train clients. I remember I would be so excited where I'd be after finished with a session, or when I'd wake up in the morning, I'd check and my email list had grown by a dozen people. Like that was so exciting to me is because I was able to start growing this thing and this audience as I was sleeping, which was really cool to me. So that's what I did for building out my community. So now once I've attracted these people, the next thing that I had to do is I had to create an offer for them. So I had to create a way for them to engage with me. Now, whenever you're creating an offer, you want to eventually build out something that's called, one of my mentors, Russell Brunson, he calls this the value ladder, which what this is going to be kind of your product line, if you will, at multiple different price points, different levels of value for the customer, and the higher up they go in that value ladder, obviously, the more value you're giving them, but the higher the price point. I knew for me at that time in that season in my life, I wanted to be as efficient as possible. And so I was already working as a full-time personal trainer and group fitness instructor. So I started with, a lot of people refer to as a high ticket offering, but I just call it online personal training. So it was a custom program for attracting these busy dads that the workouts were designed based upon the equipment that they had access to. And I sold a high ticket online personal training program. So once I created this community, I created my offer. Now, when I first started out, guys, I didn't have time to build out crazy websites, sales funnels, work with apps or anything like that. I honestly over-delivered on the value as far as the time they would get from me. And the bells and whistles weren't that shiny. Like I remember the very first few clients that I got for my online training program, it was honestly just, I would shoot the videos on YouTube, I would upload them to YouTube, and they would be unlisted videos so that only the clients with the links could see them. I created their programs in Google Docs and in Google Sheets and would just share that program to them. And then we would talk through text messaging. So they all had my cell phone numbers, and so we would just communicate and stay in touch that way. I would do, weekly 15-minute check-in calls with them if they needed it. And that was my initial offer, right? Because that's all I really had time for whenever I was starting out working my full-time fitness job. So I would do a lot of those check-ins, during the middle of the day, because, in the fitness industry, we typically work that split shift, right? We're typically from like 1 to 4, it's pretty dead in the gym. I would use that as time to follow back up and catch up with my online clients so I was productive as possible with my time. And then Saturdays was my build day. So I would start kind of building a lot of this stuff up on Saturdays. And so as this started doing very well, that's whenever I kind of started to find out that, well, not everybody could afford that one-on-one personal training, just like I know that you guys know this in your gym, right? Not everybody can afford to buy sessions from you, so what do they typically do? Group fitness. So then after this, then the next product offer that I came up with was finding out some of the pain points that they're still looking for that same community, and I did a group coaching program. So then it was all these dads starting at the same time, ending at the same time with a goal of, a 12-week program. And because it was a lower price point, I was able to scale my time, get more people in that group, and just kind of continue over time, built out this offer and my value ladder. So to recap, built my community, busy dads. I did that by creating content on social media, I created opt-ins to get their name and email to nurture them in my email list. Then I created an offer for them that solved the problem that those busy dads were going through. Then what I started to do is fix the experience. So I started building out systems. So this is kind of what I had to do to start getting money to come in for the online business. And then in this point here is kind of where you have the light bulb moment of, wow, this thing's working and you're actually making really good money. So then I started taking that money that I was making and investing into systems, because I wanted to have good systems to, one, scale my time and my efforts, but also to make sure that my customers were having as good of an experience as possible. So that way they would stay training with me, and it wasn't just, I see so many of them out there. It's not just a PDF that they're downloading and doing this on their own, but a way to really stay connected and to make them feel that I was there with them as we were doing this. So I used this to start building out systems. And one of the first systems that I created is I built something that's called a sales funnel. And you might have heard that term before. A sales funnel, guys, there's a service called ClickFunnels that I use that I think is extremely user-friendly. But a sales funnel is nothing more than a website. The only difference between a sales funnel and a traditional website is on a sales funnel, there's only one thing that you can do, and it's buy or go to the next page, because it's very direct and it's a sales presentation in essence in web form. If you go to traditional websites, and this is honestly a huge mistake I see fitness professionals make all the time when it comes to their website, is it's all about them and there's too much to do, right? So they're driving traffic to this website, but then there's an about page where they're talking about their story in fitness, and then there's links to all their social media. Then there's like, hey, here's like, my blog post, and then here is more pictures of me, and then, oh, well, over here too is my store too. I sell some online stuff. And so your customer, first of all, it's extremely difficult to drive traffic to a website. Then once you've gotten them there, they're so confused by so many other shiny things. You want to make it as extremely simple as possible for them to engage with you and get your product or service. So that's why I really like sales funnels, because it makes it very simple to just sell your product or generate leads with something like an opt-in. So first thing I did is I built my sales funnel out, because again, I'm still working my full-time fitness job as I'm doing all of this stuff. I'm adding each thing. As I got better at posting, I got better at creating my opt-ins, all this stuff. I'm adding stuff to this. So then I'm scaling my business by building out my sales funnel. What this enabled me to do is scale my outreach. So I was able to, they call it a sales funnel, because if you think like a normal funnel, right, it's wide at the top and it gets narrow at the bottom. So the wide part of the top is where you're pulling your leads in, and then down at the bottom where it gets smaller, that's where they're coming out and they're buying and engaging with your products. So I built out my sales funnel so I could kind of automate those outreach systems, right? So once I built out that funnel, then I can start driving traffic to it. So that's another term that you might not be familiar with. So traffic is just a form of leads or people, right? So it's the eyeballs that are seeing that. So once I had something, a good landing page that or opt-in that I knew was doing really well, because I was looking at my numbers and different KPIs, I started driving traffic. And so that can be done a couple of different ways. At this point, for me, I was doing it with what's called paid traffic. So I was using things like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, and things like that to drive traffic towards this page. And as I'm doing that, I'm also still driving traffic to it organically through social media posts, and then I'm evaluating it. So the thing about sales funnels that are really cool is because there's less things for people to do and engage with on the page, it's really easy to make little tweaks and changes to see what you need to improve something that's called your conversion rate. So it's how many people go to your page and then actually go to the next page or buy or enter their name and email and stuff like that. And so you're able to evaluate that. So you can come back here and again, make any adjustments that you need to, because then after you've gone through this, you've evaluated all the data, then you're gonna repeat. So you're gonna come back up here again, you'll start back over here. So you've built out your community, right? So then what are some other opt-ins that you can maybe create to give value to them that will get them into your sales funnel? Or, okay, maybe you started with that one-on-one personal training program. Well, now you want to come back through this whole thing and do it for a group coaching program. Or maybe you create an ebook where it's going to be very, hands-off for you, lower value down on the value ladder, but a lower price point for your consumer. Like maybe you're going to do a subscription service to your for your target client. Like all that stuff, you're building out new systems for that thing, and you just keep repeating the whole process. So this system took forever for me to build out because I was testing things. But once I figured it out, then it became really, really simple and easy to replicate for other fitness professionals. So you know where you're at right now, you know how long you've been there, and you know where you want to go. And so if you are looking to build out not just an online program, but a true online fitness business, I would love the opportunity to work with you, because this is exactly what we do at EntreFit, is we work with real fitness professionals just like you that know there's more for themselves and they want to create something like this. They just don't know the how. Well, that's what we do at EntreFit, is we show you and walk you through and coach you through the how so you can implement a solid online fitness business just like this for yourself so you can serve more people and change more lives. So if you guys are interested in joining our coaching program, just click the link below, fill out an application, and let's see if this is going to be a right fit for you. We'll hop on the phone together, hear all about your business and how we can add value to you. Looking forward to talking to you guys soon. Have an awesome day.